Before I walk over for the sunrise, I wanted to show you what we got done yesterday. We took out, no, we haven't completely removed it. We took out that metal frame that was bent and built a new arbor for the tomatoes. Now I just need to get in there and finish getting them all together because it was evening when we finally got this accomplished. And this is from repurposed materials. I'd had someone bring me 2x4s and 2x6s from a burned building, and somebody brought me old twin box springs, and so we used those to frame up this lovely trellis for the tomatoes. It's going to be quite beautiful as they start growing up the sides. It's going to be much more functional than the other was, and it's opened this area up. I'll just have to redo my pathways. I need to trim up squash leaves anyway. I need to work on my pathways because the squash has taken over everywhere. But that's okay. We will get this done. I just need to come in and trim all of my tomatoes and work on them. And then this will be quite lovely. And as much as I do not want to take out any of the globe mallow, I do think I need to trim it back a bit so I have room to walk through here. I'll have to look at the medicinal properties. I think I can harvest some of the globe mallow and label it. So I do believe it does have properties that would be good to keep it on hand for. Now, over to the sunrise. I have so much work to do out here over the next several days. All this growth from the rain. It's lovely. And I do have another squash that finally came up right here. With this rain, it decided to sprout. It did its own little succession because I planted it the same day that I planted these. And it is just now sprouting on this side of the spiral. So much to clean up after the rain. Glorious work. Oh, and I wonder if some of my herbs that I put in here have finally sprouted. And that was months ago that I planted seeds in here. That would be amazing if they finally came up. Of course, at this point, I don't know if I could remember what flowers and herbs I put in here. I really do need to get better at writing things down. And this is going to be such a lovely shade tree. I just need to get all that old frame out of there without damaging the tree. But I can do that. My friend brought us more mulch. Micah and I have so much work to do out here. So much. Next thing on the list is a chipper. If my in-laws gift me with one, that will be amazing. If not, well, then that's just the next thing for me to save up for, because that's an amazing pile of wood to be chipped. And at some point, I hope to get that RV repositioned so that I can do these sunrise videos from a central place in the garden. I think that would be amazing. Look. Oops. Wait a minute. Look at all of this green along here and along this fence line. God is good. Oh, what a beautiful morning sky. And of course, somebody's alarm goes off across the way. All the sounds of a busy morning in what these folks call a small town in the desert. They would be amazed at what a truly small town is. I think the town where I grew up is at a population of 360 at this point in time. And that was an amazing way to grow up. Although I don't think we all realized it at the time. Enjoy the songs of the birds as we watch the sunrise together. I just did a quick walkthrough of all the plants coming up that God has blessed us with, following all these rains. There's amaranth and purslane galore. I have already been doing some research into harvesting and dehydrating amaranth. I need to check into the purslane. I do know that it's packed full of micronutrients that we here in the States do not get nearly enough of, and things that can help us to stay healthier in times like our country has been, well, the entire globe has been facing. Since well before my lifetime, our country has led the world in getting further and further away from food practices that'll keep our bodies healthy. My apologies. We've gotten further and further away from practices that will help us to maintain our health and help us to be able to live through pandemics. I was watching a video the other day, an interview with a well-known doctor in California who has been doing a lot of research into what changed after penicillin was discovered. Prior to the development of penicillin, the medical community had been working on finding ways to help our bodies best do what God has designed them to do, to fight infections, viruses, bacteria, all of it. But then with the development of penicillin, that focus changed from helping the body to combat infections to using drugs to fight the infections. And this is not, my feelings on this are not anti-medication, but it is pro giving your body everything it needs to naturally fight infections and remain healthy. So that the medications are an additional resource rather than the primary resource. We need a more holistic approach than our modern society has used during my lifetime. It needs to not be all one way or all the other, but a joining of the best practices for both approaches. Using man-made medicinals as our primary approach rather than a supportive approach seems to me to be it's not the wisest method. Wisdom would be in my opinion, to utilize the gifts that God has provided. And then when something additional is needed, then use the man-made approaches that God has given us the knowledge to develop. We need both. There is a place for each approach. And wisdom would be to utilize both. Just like I'm not going to stop going to the grocery store just because I'm growing a garden. I'm going to work using permaculture and restorative practices. I'm going to work towards developing a self-sustaining food forest that Micah and I can maintain. But I won't be able to grow everything that we enjoy eating. I only have an acre. There's only one of me. I can't do it all. So when I'm back to the point that I can, I will visit the farmer's market. And I will continue to use the grocery store and work with friends as we all share together what we each have, what we're each able to do. Working together in community. And that's a hard thing for me. It's something I've always wanted, but it's always been very challenging. I don't trust people. Well, I trust people to be people. I trust them to be human. That includes an awful lot of challenges. So I look for the best in people and hope to avoid the worst. And as we all work together, perhaps we can encourage more of the best. It's a slow process. Just as sometimes the sunrise can seem very, very slow. But the sunrise is a beautiful process. It's not a destination, but a journey. I've always loved that quote. So what is on your journey? Watch for the beauty. Enjoy the blessings. And the sun is somewhere behind that bank of clouds. I hope that the camera is picking up all of these glorious colors. That bright iridescent white on the top layer of the clouds. Excuse me. It's absolutely amazing. Be blessed, my sweet friends. Have a wonderful day.